Hey, how you doing? Mike Conley with Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy. Welcome to today's Make Money Be Successful Entrepreneur Classroom. Today our topic is how to create $1 million asset in 5 years or less. First of all, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this classroom. As you know or may not know, at Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy, we help people become successful entrepreneurs. No hype, no fluff. We just kind of show you the groundwork and the things that it takes to be successful and how to do it. I'm one of the instructors in the academy and also one of the co-founders. And you will also learn from another one of the co-founders today, John Sortino, and he's known for being the guy who created the Vermont Teddy Bear Company. And if you don't know what the Vermont Teddy Bear Company is, here's a quick overview. John took teddy bears, and in a matter of a few years, he took it from being a push cart business in the streets of Vermont to being one of the most successful teddy bear companies in the world. And he eventually took it public and made that company worth over $100 million. So some of those kind of things, some of those strategies that we're going to teach you today, so you can know how to turn your business or even your idea into an asset that someone would be willing to buy from you in 5 years, or something that be worth way more money than when you initially started. And for most entrepreneurs, they don't know how to do this, and they kind of go about business thinking, okay, the more products I sell, the more valuable my company would be. And what you're going to learn today is that's not necessarily the main way to make your company more valuable. But we'll get into that in greater detail today. And just in case you haven't already become a member with us, there's a little green button right beneath. You can create your account and get access to all the courses that we have to offer, get access to one-on-one mentoring and training from John and myself, and as well as get access to our mastermind group, in which we all, all members kind of discuss ideas and grow and learn from each other. So if you haven't, no pressure, but you can. There's a little green button right beneath you. Just click that and create your account. And just for a limited time only, because some people were saying that the membership was a little bit much for them. So you'll see a special offer that you can take advantage of if you just click that green button and create your account today. Without further ado, I want to introduce the man of the hour, John Sortino, who is a co-founder of the Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy, and he's going to be the instructor today in this Make Money Be Successful Entrepreneur class. So John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike.
All right. So John, if you can just jump right in and take over.
All right. Thanks, Mike, and welcome to everyone. And I hope you enjoy. I like to put together presentations that I think are fun, so I tried to make this one a fun presentation. And please, there's a place for you to make comments and ask questions. It's on the it should be there. So just ask a question anytime you want. Mike will either answer the questions at the end or while it's going on. Mike will instruct me to either stop or keep going. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to go to my magic, what I like to call my magic whiteboard. And oops. And here's my magic whiteboard. So can you see that, Mike? Good. All right. Now, with my magic whiteboard, I always like to invite somebody along with me. So my favorite character is Rockin' Einstein. So I'm going to bring Rockin' Einstein in. There he is. Hey, Rockin'. How you doing, buddy, today? So Rockin' Einstein and I we both have the same voice. And you know what Einstein said? Besides E equals MC squared, one of the most important things Einstein ever said was time equals money. Time equals money. It's very important that during this presentation that you keep that in mind, because you're going to be spending time building a business. If you spend 5 years doing network marketing or selling something that is someone else's product or service, and you call that business your own, all right, you spend 5, 10 years doing something for somebody else, you might make a good income or you might not. But the business has little or no value as an asset, meaning if you were looking to sell it, you had a hard time finding someone to buy it. Um, they might be interested in buying your customers, but it wouldn't really be worth that much. So you're spending 5 years creating an income, but you're not really creating an asset. The word asset there is really important. So in this lesson, when you start a business, you should think, okay, the business I'm starting is going to be an asset. An asset's just like a house. It's just like anything else. It's valuable. So build a business that has some value to it. Now, in this next whiteboard, I'm going to bring Rocket Einstein. There he is. I don't know why he's just tongue out all the time. If you spend 5 years on a business, it should be worth some money. In 9 years, I took the teddy bear company that was worth $2 when I started it, and I'll kind of explain that in a second. But after 9 years, I made it a company worth $100 million. Now, I did that by increasing 1 share of company stock, 1 share, from, well, when I first created the company, I created 200 shares of stock in the Vermont Teddy Bear Company. And when you create a company, when you create stock, the stock is worth 1 cent on the day you create the company. So my teddy bear business, I'm opening up a cart on Church Street. I'm building my business up, and I wanted to be incorporated, so I created 200 shares of company stock, and each stock was worth 1 cent each. So 1 cent times 200 shares means $2. If you can see that $2 right there. So my company was worth $2. And in 9 years, I took it to a company that had 6 million shares, and each share was worth $20 each. So 6 million, I went from 200 shares to 6 million shares. Very interesting. It might sound a little complicated, but that's not the purpose of this. When you incorporate, like I said, you create company stock. When you create company stock and you incorporate, you work for the stockholders. And usually you give yourself the most amount of stock. And I suggest that when you incorporate, you create at least 1 million shares of company stock. And 1 million shares of company stock worth 1 cent each, because you're going to incorporate. That means your company is worth 1 million times 1 cent. I think it's $10,000, but anyways, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I think this is the wrong number. But you multiply how many shares of stock you created times 1 cent, and that's how much your company is worth. In this case, I wrote the wrong number here. It's actually $10,000. So if you create 1 million shares of stock, when you incorporate your company at 1 cent, your stock is worth 1 cent each, it's worth $10 million. That is how much your company is worth. Now, if you have a really good idea and a good team, you can create more shares of stock. What do I mean by a good team? Like a good marketing team, a really good, scientist on your team, whatever you're doing, great baker, who's ever on your team. If you're a really good team, you can create more shares of stock. And the more shares of stock, you multiply that times 1 cent. So you multiply 5 million times 1 cent would make the company worth $50,000. 10 million times 1 cent. I'm pretty sure the number is $100,000. So you're gonna, when you incorporate, you're gonna give your company value when you incorporate at 1 cent a piece, depending on how many shares of stock you create. I think that's pretty simple. Now, on the new whiteboard, I'm going to bring Rocket Einstein back in. He doesn't like to stay in the same place. There he is. Your job, when you own a business, very, very important. When you own a business, is to make your company stock worth more money than 1 cent. That is what CEOs do, Chief Executive Officers. They, and you'll read about it all the time in the papers, the CEO was fired because the stock went down. But the job of the CEO is to make the stock worth more money. Now, when you're starting out a business, there's a few ways to make your stock worth more money than 1 cent. If your business is in a growth market, what do we mean by that? Well, for example, Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy is in a growth market. E-learning is a growth market. So we are in a growth market. If we were in the typewriter market, it would not be a growth market because that market's been long gone. So a growth market is something that's growing. Very important. So when you create a business, do it in a growth market. If you have a strong board of directors, now a strong board, you're not going to probably put together a strong board of directors at the very beginning. But as you build your company, you're going to be looking at building a great board of directors. You might put, a prominent lawyer on your board. You might put a bank president on your board. You might put a business leader on your board. The more important, knowledgeable business people on your board makes your stock worth more than 1 cent. There's a couple other ways, and these are just a few ways. A quality investor. Again, to use the Vermont Teddy Bear Company example, I found an investor who was willing to put about $400,000 into my teddy bear business plan, and her name is Joan, and she bought, for $400,000, I sold off about 38% of the company. And just because she was an investor made my company worth a lot more money. Very important, a good 4-point triangle team. A 4-point triangle team means that you have 4 people, that every business has the same 4 parts to it. It's a boss, operations, marketing and sales, and finance. If you have a good 4-point triangle team, your stock will be worth more money. There's 2 other ways I listed here. An awesome sales and marketing plan. Again, to use the Teddy Bear Company as an example, I knew exactly how much money I needed to spend on marketing to bring in a customer. I knew exactly how much money I needed to spend on sales. So those 2 numbers, however much money I put into these 2 numbers, I knew exactly what my sales were going to be. And when I could when I could forecast my sales that well, my sales and profit increased year after year. I went from $400,000 to $1.7 million to $5.6 million to $10.6 million to $17 million, and that's the year we went public. The year we hit $17 million. My sales were going up and my profit was going up. Again, because I had a good sales and marketing plan. And I had a great board of directors. I had a really good investor. My team was second to none, and I was in a growth market. The market the Teddy Bear business was in was the gift market, and the gift market is a growth market. It's growing every day. No matter how you look at it when you do your research, the gift market is a good market to get into. Difficult, but it's a good market. Hey, Rockin'. Now, if you create 1 million shares of stock and you want a company worth $1 million after 5 years, you have to increase the stock to $1 each. So $1 times 1 million shares of stock will make that company worth $1 million. Now, if you increase the share of stock to $2, then your company's worth $2 million. If you increase the share of stock to $5, then it's worth $5 million. Now, the price of a share of stock is what someone is willing to pay for it. Whatever business you're building, at the end of 5 or 10 years, if you keep in mind that you're building an asset, someone is going to want to buy a piece of it or all of that business from you. Or especially if you want to sell it. In my case, I sold a piece of my teddy bear business earlier on to an angel investor, and then I sold a piece of the teddy bear business later on to Wall Street when we went public. And the reason why it sold for $20 is because when we went public, people were willing to pay $20 a share for it. And that's how you evaluate a company, basically. This is really simple math. And please ask questions, and I'll explain it at any time. Now, when the Teddy Bear Company went public, we were selling, as I said, our shares on the open market for $20 on NASDAQ. NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, are 2 of the major markets in the United States. Now, $20 a share, that was my exit strategy for my investor. When my investor put the money in the company, they said right away, what's your exit strategy? And I said, my exit strategy is to take the company public. Because that was my exit strategy, I focused in on that for the last 4 years of the business. That's all we did, was focus on making the company ready to go public. Now, there are different exit strategies, and you need to think of one when you plan on investing 5 to 10 years of your life into your business. One exit strategy might be you want to sell a business after 5 to 10 years, and you then want to use the money that you sell your business for and use that money to start another business or to do something different. One exit strategy might be that you might want to have your business with more partners in it to make it grow larger, and then your partners might want to buy you out after a certain length of time. That's an exit strategy. An exit strategy is nothing more than what do I want to do with this business after 5 years? If you want to keep it, you still could have an exit strategy for an investor. What do I mean by that? When I took my investor in and we went public, I had, by the way, it's a really fun ride, but I had no interest in really leaving the company, so I didn't want to sell a lot of my shares of stock. I wanted to stay in the company, so my exit strategy was for my investors. Hope that's clear. So exit strategy is very important. Now, bring Rocket back in here, and we're almost done here, and I hope that there's some questions. And this is really important. The exit strategy for Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy is to go public and bring our members along. Mike and I are budgeting shares of stock in our company that's going to go to our members. We don't exactly know how to give it to them yet. We're talking to our lawyers, but there's a chunk of stock, and we both think that the best way for business people to learn about stock is actually to even learn about it when another company's going the path that Mike and I are taking. So it's not, we not only want to give our members stock to make money in the stock that we're giving them, but for them to learn about how we're managing our company stock. I have a full plan in place, and it's going to be rolling out over the next 3 years. And you know, a lot of people might not know how to do that right away, but you will learn how to do it, and you'll learn how to do it again, better the next time and better. When you're an entrepreneur, you really are taking this path of learning business, and you can go from starting up a small business to moving out to a bigger business to moving out to a huge business. It's not uncommon, and all those businesses have the same parts to them. So please, you know what, when you become a member, we're not promising anything here, but we're trying to figure out how to make our members stockholders. And Mike and I are planning on doing this open classroom, this type of open classroom every week. And the next lesson is how to budget company stock. Now, what do I mean by how to budget company stock? Well, you have 1 million shares of stock, right? And you're the founder. You're going to give yourself a good chunk of that stock. If you're looking for other people to work with you to build your 4-point triangle, you're going to want to give them some stock. You're going to want to save some stock for your employees. You're going to want to save some stock for your board of directors, and you're going to want to. So learning how to budget stock is really important. One of the things I love, and you'll see in most of the stuff that I talk about in a lot of my classes, is that I think it's very important that when you build a business is that you, and I put here, learn to dream. And learn to dream. Your dream's going to change. At first, your dream's going to be maybe a smaller one, but it's amazing how big that dream can get. I had no idea of how far I could take the teddy bear company, but each year my dream got bigger and bigger. It had nothing to do with how much money I was making. It only had to do with expanding my business because I was having so much fun doing it. In the last 2 years we were there, we expanded to Great Britain and opened up a Bear Grab business there in Scotland, and it was so much fun. So keep on dreaming and learn to dream and keep your dreams real and work at it, because that you're never going to know where you're going to go unless you have a dream to get you there. And lastly, one of the things I like to also say is that when you're building a business, and it will take you on this journey, and the journey is going to be a lot of fun. But along the way, please remember to have fun along the way. Just have fun, because if you don't remember to have fun along the way, and look at some of the things you're going to be working on, even laughing at yourself. But it is really a lot of fun. Mike and I have had a lot of fun moments in our new company so far, and we work hard at it. So I'm not saying it's all fun, but we remember to have fun. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation, Mike. There we go. So, Mike.
Hey, John. Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, a couple of questions popped up. One question was from Tony over in Atlanta, was when you say create a stock, is that is that a physical document? Is that a digital document? Like, how do you really, like, literally create a stock? What's that mean?
All right, that's a good question, Tony. When you incorporate either in the state that you live in or somebody else's state. Delaware is the normal state to incorporate in for a lot of reasons. So let's just say you incorporate in Delaware. When you incorporate in Delaware, when you incorporate, they're going to ask you when you fill out the papers how many shares of stock in your company, and you're going to put a number in. Now, when you sell stock to somebody, you're going to give them a piece of paper, just like a real stock certificate. So it's not digital, it's a real piece of paper. But it's recorded in Delaware that that person is a stockholder. And whoever holds that corporate book records who the stockholders are. So in our case, most times your lawyer holds onto your corporate book, because everything you want to do is you want to do it through them. I'm not saying lawyers are expensive. It's just that every single time you're giving out a share of stock, you have to keep it recorded and know that that person is a shareholder. And as a person who runs a corporation, you have responsibility to that shareholder. And they should get a piece of paper that says how many shares of stock they have. Did that answer it, Mike?
Yeah, I think that was great. That was a clear answer.
Okay.
And you kind of answered a little bit of the second question, which was when someone wants to sell their share of stock, how do they go about doing that? And that's David in Florida.
Good question. When you're starting out, many times a fair audience for you to sell your stock to is family and friends. Family and friends who won't, first of all, a little bit of money can go a long way. But with family and friends, they're not going to turn around if your company happens to not do real well and sue you because it's your family and friends. But the real answer is if you're selling stock to raise money for your company, you're looking for a quality investor. A quality investor is someone who has invested in the stock market, someone who understands what a buying stock is, and that they're taking a risk in a new startup business. So, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there like that. When I started at the Teddy Bear Company, I got one of the richest guys in Burlington to buy 2 shares of my stock. He bought 2 shares for $2,000. I did that a few years after I started it. And those 2 shares of stock that he put $2,000, I'm pretty sure it was 2. It could have been 4. When we went public, he made close to $3 million off those 2 shares of stock. So a lot of people in your community actually have money, doctors, lawyers, business leaders, and the worst they can say to you is if you're asking them for an investment in your company, the worst thing they can say to you is no. But along the way, you're going to reach somebody who sees your idea, and you're going to learn how to sell it well, and they're going to say yes. So the bottom line answer to your question is when you're selling stock, at the very beginning, you might sell little to your family and friends. you don't want them to overcommit and put all their life savings into your business. You don't want to do that. But they might consider putting a little bit of money in there to help you do the kinds of things you need to build your business a little bit better. But the real answer is to find somebody with, and there are a lot of people out there with money, and the worst they can say is no. And when I started out asking for my investors in the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, I got a lot of no's before I got a yes. And I learned how to get better at putting my plan together to get to the yes. And I would have a meeting pretty much with anyone who would give me a meeting, and they would say, I'm not interested, John, but I know somebody who might be. And I'd go on and on and on and on and on like that. Anyone who invested made a lot of money, and I'm pretty proud of that. So hope that answered that question.
We got one from Dana in New Jersey. She said, John, can you please explain the difference between a share and a stock? I'm still a little confused.
All right, these are all good questions. And before I even wanted to get into this discussion on this, I wanted to approach it to just give an idea of, because it's a lot more complicated than you could do in one, obviously one classroom. So all the classes are going to address all these kinds of things. But a share and a stock is pretty much the same thing. When you create let's just say you create 1 million shares of it's called 1 million shares of stock. So if you create 1 million shares of stock, it means that if you sell one of them, that means you're selling 1/1,000,000th of the shares of stock. So I would say the difference between a stock and a share is that there isn't any. They're the same thing, pretty much.
So what you're saying is an interchangeable word, share and stock?
Pretty much, yeah. For now, they are. I wouldn't even get any more complicated than that.
Okay, so Dana. So what John's saying is, in another class, he'll go into more details just to keep it simple and easy to follow. Another question from Mario over in Tampa. Okay, Mario says, John, you said that the value of the company can go up. How do you exactly make the value of the share go up? Like you said, I guess in the beginning you said you could start off as a penny and you go up to $1, $2. So what makes that value go up?
Okay, I talked a little bit about it. If you have a good idea, and many of our members have very good ideas. And I use them too much as an example, so I kind of need to be broad. But if your idea is to build a food product and build a brand name on a food product, and you could show that every customer that you sell your food product to buys X amount of it, over the course of a year, and you could show that you could increase those sales just by finding more customers, and that the cost of finding more customers is not that much money, you can actually build out a whole plan that shows your business doing $5 or $10 million in 5 years. So that's really the best and simplest way. But along that way, as you're building your business, you're going to want maybe better loan deals. You might need some legal advice. So you put together a better board of directors that can better advise you on moving forward. A board of directors is nothing more than a bunch of people sitting around a table once every quarter, and they review your financial statements with you. If you're the largest stockholder, you select the board of directors because you control the company. But once you become not the largest, once you lose control, then it's more of a cooperative effort, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a good board of directors will increase. I always use this example. If anyone could get Warren Buffett on their board, your company's worth $20 million just by having his name on the board. All right, you're right. Just because he endorses it enough to sit on your board, because he knows that time equals money. So he wouldn't be wasting his time on your board of directors unless he thought your company was really worth a lot more money. In the 4-point triangle idea, I said you can increase your share of stock. Again, all of our new members, I encourage them to take the 4-point triangle course right away. And Mike and I, when we put this course together, actually, if you look at our logo, it's got the 4-point triangle on it. And in the 4-point triangle, you have, very important, you have a boss, but underneath that boss, you have an operations person and you have a sales and marketing person. Now, the sales and marketing person, the operation person that you select to work within your company can increase the value of your stock. If you bring along this amazing sales and marketing person who really, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but if I was part of your 4-point triangle, your stock would be worth more money. If you were uh, inventing a new drug, and your operations person who was responsible for that new drug went to MIT, which is one of the great, it is the best university in the country, the world. Your stock would be worth more money because that guy has credibility. Um, Another way is that when you increase your sales every year, now profit, I'm not talking a lot about profit here because profit is not really the most important thing on increasing your the value of a stock. But if you go from making 5% to making 10% to making 15%, and you've got a business with a solid sales and marketing plan, people are going to go, well, wow, this is just a cash cow. This business does nothing but make cash. And it's a really good plan, and the formulas all work. That will make your company worth a lot of money. That's why my company, when we went public, was worth $20 a share. They bought my sales and marketing plan. It was really an amazing sales and marketing plan. It was really, the company was what's commonly called a cash cow. As much money as I put into it, a lot more money came out of it. So I hope that answers. There's other ways too, and I know I said that during the presentation, but if you get a good investor, your company's going to be worth more money, because a good investor, not only on the board of directors, but a good investor says to other people, "Oh my God, this guy invested. Oh, this guy must know something, so I want to invest too. So I'm going to be willing to pay X amount of dollars for the share of stock." Mike and I, for our business, we have a good quality investor, a person who is worth, of course, in the millions of dollars, but he hangs around with other people who have built businesses, and he's got a very famous friend that anybody who watches the Shark Tank would know this guy. So he's a real quality investor. Him investing in us made our stock worth more money. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks, John. I just want to add to that too, because it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, you can use this model. I mean, obviously John did it with teddy bears. You see, in Facebook does it with software, Microsoft. Look at the stock market. There's tons and tons of companies that do this, and you look at, the majority of the wealthy people in the world, they own publicly traded companies. So it's definitely the way to make the value of your company go up versus trying to sell $5 million. Or sorry, we said a million in this thing. So instead of trying to sell $1 million worth of product, you create $1 million system that's generating revenue. You make your company profitable by using sales and marketing, and creating just create that process as to where people join your business or purchase your product or your service, and now you have something that other people want to buy into because they know they're not gonna lose money, they're gonna make money. And that's what people, investors, they're not investing per se because they like you. They may like you, that's a part of it, but because people invest in people, not products. But they will also, more importantly, they want to make sure their money's making money. So learning how to create a system is really one of the greatest things you could do, because once you know how to do it for one thing, you can do it literally for anything. So I like to say people that are successful selling. For example, Mike Carriage is a guy who started the Yankee Candle Company. And if you ever sat down and had a conversation with him, you'll realize that Mike Carriage could sell light bulbs, and he would have had a $500 million light bulb company. It's just one of those things, and that's one of the biggest things that you can learn, not only for yourself, but also for if you're a parent, you can learn for your children, because if you teach them that, then they'll have other things to worry about, but making money won't be one of them, because you know how to build a system that works. And that's kind of the things that we teach, and that's why we call these classrooms "Make Money, Be Successful." It's not really about being arrogant. It's just really about showing you the processes and the steps that it takes to really literally make money and be successful. And then it's up to you to go out and do these things. But the great thing is that we don't leave you hanging in this. We help you along with the process. Matter of fact, John and I were on the phone with a one of our members out in Tallahassee, Florida over the weekend, and she has this amazing custom cake business. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm making X amount of dollars a month, but I want to grow it." And immediately, we both were able to come up with a marketing strategy, and John was able to break down some things that she could do to be doubling her revenue, like starting right now. It's like simple tweaks because once you know how to do it, it's really simple to do it, and it's not simple as in easy because it still requires work. It's a simple process. It's simple. It's not easy. It's not easy because you have to do it, but it's simple enough to do. And she's gonna start implementing some of these strategies. And we gave her a couple things to work on, and she's doing it. You know, when people that really committed to growing their businesses, they can grow their businesses. It's just you can't stop someone that's committed. It's almost impossible to stop them. But we love working with people like that, and we love giving people the exact steps they have to take to get to where they want to get to, because you don't want to spend 5 years spinning your wheels trying to figure it out. You want to spend 5 years building an asset and making your company worth something, because like we always say, 95% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, and that's ridiculous. But those 5% that do make it are the ones that know how to build an asset and know how to create value in that company, and not only just know how to sell stuff, but also how, which is important, but also know how to build an asset, and that's the key. That's the key part. And we teach you at Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy. We teach you how to do that stuff because John's did it. He's done it a couple of times, and he taught me how to do it. And that's why I'm confident enough to say you can do it too. Because if I can learn it, I know you can learn it. Because once you understand in a simple way how to do things, it's pretty much easy to do it. Like I like to say, John, he's dyslexic, so sometimes he messes up his words or his spelling. But because of that, it makes him brilliant at making things simple. Because how his brain processes stuff is way different than how someone without it processes stuff. So he makes really quote unquote complex um, theories really simple, and that's why I'm able to learn from him, and I know you guys can learn from him just by following along and listening to what he has to say. John,
Yes.
I had a question that I wanted to ask you. It's more of a marketing question. I mean, you said that you were able to create a cash cow through creative marketing, and I know one of the things that attracted me to you about 4 or 5 years ago when I was doing my other business was your savviness with radio. Do you think being able to use radio effectively, even though it's considered an form of old media, do you think being able to use radio effectively is a great way to grow your asset?
Oh, absolutely. I've got lots of examples of every single day people are doing it because I listen to the radio while I work, and I love radio. I'm a huge radio nut, and I hear people advertising with new product all the time. Um, One that you're going to hear a lot, Tommy John underwear, started on radio, all right? And now he's getting so huge, and it's kind of funny. Snapple started on radio, and of course, I grew my business on radio. There's just so many different examples, but lately there's one that's somebody made a really out of nowhere invented this kind of new kind of tequila. That's what it's called, and he started on radio, and now he's like in all the stores. But radio promoted everything that he had going on. So yeah, radio I think could sell anything. And I want to say one last thing, Mike. When you're starting a company, you don't have to incorporate right away. But I also encourage our members to think like a corporation. So if this is kind of thinking like a corporation, you still can have a different kind of business. But if you think like a corporation, you'll be able to make your business grow to $1 million or $2 million after that, after the length of time that you want to put into it. And when you look for an investor and you're not a corporation, let's just say you're a company that's not a corporation. When somebody buys 25% of your business, they bought 25% of your business. But when you're a corporation, people buy 25% of your stock, that doesn't necessarily mean they bought 25% of your business. You can always increase more stock, and there's a whole bunch of things you could do. They might have ended up with, after going from a few million shares to 100 million shares to maybe 12% of the business. So it varies. But if they buy 25% of your business, like in an LLC, they're buying 25% of your business. So I also like to think in corporations that kind of way because it's more flexible. If you're the largest shareholder and you want to give yourself, another 3 million shares for doing a great job, you're going to increase your percent of business. You can do whatever you want. You can always increase and put more shares into the company. All you have to do is just bring them in. It's kind of like crazy, and it's fun.
John, I have one last question. Because most people see these evaluations, they think of Shark Tank, and a lot of entrepreneurs go in on Shark Tank and they kind of, they throw these numbers out and they go, "Oh, I didn't mean to say that." So, how would someone know what their company's worth? How would they figure out, like today, what their company's worth?
But really simply, when a person goes to the Shark Tank, they always say, "I'm looking for this to do this." Okay? If they're looking for the money to make more of the product, their company's not worth anything. Because, let me take that back. If they're looking for more money, if they're looking for money to make more of the product because they have so much in sales, their company's worth a lot. If they're looking and they're working by themselves and they don't have sales, and they're looking for the Shark Tank people to do the sales and marketing part for them. A lot of people their products are made for home shopping network. And if you're looking for that home shopping network, they're going to offer you a lot less for your company because they're the marketing. They're just buying an idea, and an idea isn't worth that much. The sales and marketing and the finance part of your business is worth a lot. The idea is not really worth that much. The idea is worth 5 to 10%. The marketing and sales part's worth 40%, and the finance part's worth 40%. So if you're looking to find somebody to build a business with you and finance your business, you're going to be giving up 40% of your business to that person just because of that. If you're looking at them for not only to put the money in, but also do the sales and marketing, they're going to ask for 80% of your business. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense, and it gives a clear idea. Because sometimes you watch Shark Tank and you go, "Wait, why are the sharks being so greedy?" But
Yep.
it's not necessarily about greed. It's more about what they have to put into it and what because they know the numbers and they know what things are worth. And that was great explanation to let people understand like how they come up with these numbers and know it's not just like random numbers.
I was just on Shark Tank. There's a group that you encouraged me to join. And somebody actually said on this thing that there's no true and hard formula, but there is a true and hard formula. That is the true and hard formula. And how you negotiate off that formula is how good you are at selling. You have to get ready to negotiate off that formula. And you can get more on one side and less on the other side if you're a good negotiator.
But see, that's what I mean. That's why I think that was great because now you going based on what those systems are worth. The finance system, the marketing system, the idea, and I guess the operations part as well. But once you know what each one of those parts are worth, and what's percentage in your company, then you know how much you actually could give away. Because if you given, let's just say you're giving away 40% of the company for to gain a massive sales and marketing team, then that's worth it. And like you said, if you're a corporation, you always could add more shares to it, so you're not necessarily giving away 40% of the company. You see a lot of entrepreneurs go into Shark Tank and they just have this idea and they give away a huge part of that idea, and then they end up, they still make money. And like you said, sometimes your small idea is just that idea to get you going to generate revenue to do something else. But sometimes they go in as an LLC or sole proprietor, and they give away 40-50% of their company, and that's it. They can't ever get that back. But if you create a corporation, like you said, there's a lot of other things you could do.
Correct.
Let me just see if we have any more questions on the live feed. And if you're watching live, right above the create my account button, you could add a comment in there. And if not, you could always email on our message on our Facebook page and whatnot. But so that looks like it, John. We don't have any more questions, but
All
this
right,
was
thank
great. I want to encourage everyone to create their account and become a member with us. All of our payments are handled through PayPal. So you just subscribe, and right now you'll see if you click the create my account button, you'll see the special we have going on, and seriously only limited that to about 100 people to get in on that payment plan because we have over 3,000 people trying to get into the academy. So we literally can't open that payment plan to everyone. We would love to, but every time we have people come in, that's more businesses that we have to help manage. So we want to make sure all our members get equal of our time. So we only can limit that to the first 100 people. So click the green button below, create your account, take advantage of that payment plan, and we look forward to seeing you in the members area. We actually will be doing a members only training on Thursday in 2 days. So you could actually get in on that if you create your account today, become a member. And thanks for coming to the classroom. And we'll see you again next week. We'll do a class every Monday or Tuesday. We tested
you. Or
it.
Wednesday, no, Mike. We might do it Wednesday.
Right, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We tested the days to see what works best for you. So if Monday or Tuesday doesn't necessarily work for you, send us an email, send us a message on Facebook.com/Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy. Let us know what works best for you. And there's always a replay. So if you can't catch the webinar live, the classroom live, we always send out the replay in the email. So look out for your email for the replay of this, and then all the other ones will be in your email too. So create your account. We'll get to work on us with us one-on-one. You could ask us private questions, and we'll answer your questions. And just thank you for your time. This was great.
All right, thanks, Mike. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care. Create your account.
I'm looking forward to meeting you all. Bye now.
Bye. Take care.